Monica, how did you experience recording the most recent album?
Oh, well, recording with Jose is always a very unique and interesting experience. There's always something to take away from recording. I feel like recording with Jose, no matter how many years you've played, no matter what experiences you've gone through, anytime you're in the studio with Jose, there's always something that you can take away from that experience.
And was there something in particular that you took away from recording the most recent album?
For me, I would say interpretation. I mean, I do try to interpret songs as best as I can. Like, even though I'm not saying anything, I'm playing. You know, I'm trying to play with like more like, oh, like if there's more emotion in this part, like I'll try to put a little more effort in that. If it's more like a love song, then I'll try to play like more romantic type themes.
And so how do you ensure that you transmit what you want to transmit through the instrument? It seems like it's more challenging to transmit an emotion through the vihuela as opposed to your voice.
Yeah, I would say it is a bit of a challenge, but practice does make perfect. Yeah, I mean, just going over that, like also recording yourself, because the way you hear it live, it may not be the way somebody else hears it. So by recording yourself, you could be like, oh, like I did that there, or maybe I want to try something else there, from an outside perspective.
You sang on Te Vas o Te Quedas with Crystal, who you've known for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
She mentioned to me the last time you spoke that you have been, I think you did a duet when you were 10. Is that accurate?
Oh my goodness. Probably like 8
when you went
through 10, yeah. Yeah.
So what was it like to record in this very sort of grand context for the 30th anniversary album with someone who you've known for an extended period of time?
I would say it was familiar because, I mean, we did kind of grow up playing together and singing together. When we were little, we did a duet, Pajarillo Barranqueño. And then, so yeah, I mean, it was just really familiar, but I was also very happy and proud to be able to record with her again, because it had been so long that I've seen her, like played with her. I would say the last time that me and her performed together was Solecitos, and that was a while ago. But it was very familiar, it was very comfortable. She had already recorded her part, so when I went in, I was just like, oh, okay, like, all right, this, like, it'll be fine.
Okay. So when you were recording the vocals, who's in the room apart from you and Jose?
The sound engineer, Freddie. Yeah, so it's usually just the singer, Jose, and then the sound engineer.
When you're listening to Crystal's vocal, what are you listening to in the moment, and what are you trying to add to that in your interpretation?
Well, I'm definitely trying to listen to how she phrases it, because we're singing a duet, so we do have to phrase it the same way. You also have to listen, or I also had to listen to like how she was pronouncing the words, and then where she was placing her vibrato, how her vibrato was, because I mean, she's the first voice and I sang the second, so I guess the second can't necessarily like really overpower the top voice. But yeah, so I was trying to listen to how she was phrasing the song, her dictation, like how she was saying the words, and if her vibrato was like more open or more like compact.
Have you had the chance to sing that song live with her yet?
Yeah, we've sang it a few times already since the CD release.
And what do you make of those performances relative to the studio version? Do you think that you're on the same page and everything runs smoothly, or are there little moments where before or after a show you think, okay, let's make sure to be on the same page regarding this section?
Well, during the performances, I definitely we read off of each other, like, oh, if we do this, like, okay, let's do this here. Like, we'll just like feed off each other's energy. Like, yeah, I mean, we'll feed off each other's energy. But there were instances before we got to perform the song live where we sat down and like practiced singing, or I'd tell her, I'd be like, I'm gonna look at you. You don't have to look at me, but I'm gonna look at you just to like see like where to cut off. Like, what you're going to do, what hand gestures you're going to do, just so we kind of look similar. So, yeah, I guess just keep on the same page, but also feeding off of each other's energy. It doesn't have to be like exact, like with gestures and all that. But definitely like keep it within the ballpark.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned feeding off of Crystal's energy. As it pertains to the audience, to what extent do you, Monica, feed off of their energy?
Oh, definitely. Well, definitely if the audience is very, I notice that they're very like receptive of how we're performing, what we're saying. It definitely makes me want to perform better, to like engage them more, because if they seem like more engaged in the show, it definitely makes it more fun to perform for them.
And when there's a certain lack of a response, or the audience seems like they kind of smile and they give you a small clap at the end of the songs, does that affect you in any way as a performer, or are you prepared to reach the height that you have as a musician, irrespective of the energy that the audience has?
Mm-hmm. Well, there have definitely been instances where we're just like, oh, like they're being really attentive, or like we don't know if like they're really paying attention, or they're just like, oh, I'm just here to watch a show, like it's fine. But definitely if they just like, like how you said, it's very like, oh, like, okay, you don't really know how to interpret that in a sense. I don't know. Just me personally, I always want to try to get like a reaction out of the audience, like when we're performing or like when I'm singing or anything. But there have been instances where it's just like, oh, okay, like I don't know what that meant, but it's fine.
Mm-hmm. So then, is there ever a moment when you think, okay, let's try something different? The audience is responding or they're not responding, and so perhaps we should make an adjustment. Are there ever adjustments made, or are you very much sticking to what you know works, even when the audience is not responding intensely?
Definitely there are adjustments made. Mm-hmm. Like for say, if we're playing at the restaurant, we'll see how well the audience reacts to what type of song we play. If they react more to like Vicente Fernandez or like other types of genres, we'll try to gear more towards that to sort of keep them engaged, and yeah, just to like keep them more engaged.
Lastly, I want to talk about the Cerritos presentations of Mariachi Christmas that Reyna will be participating in December. What do you think is special about those shows? What speaks to you about those presentations?
Well, for me, that show has always been, sorry. That show will always have a special place in my heart. It was my first time ever being on a stage. It was my grandma's favorite show. But yeah, it's a show that I will always keep very near and dear to my heart. Like I said, it was the first time I ever performed on a stage playing mariachi music. It was my grandmother's favorite show. Always seeing her smile when I was on that stage, it was always very fulfilling, knowing that I was making her proud.
Monica, what do you want to leave the audience with through those 3 Cerritos shows?
Well, I would love for them to be proud of the Mexican culture. Sometimes people who are Mexican aren't really super, super in touch with their Mexican heritage. So hopefully by them seeing this Christmas show, they'll be able to feel a sense of pride in where they're from and enjoy the show and leave with a smile on their face.